Namanda, 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 namanda.
Good morning. Ohayou gozaimasu. Boku no namae wa Hashimoto Tam desu. I will be your chairperson for this morning's Gotan-E service. We will start with Sutra Chanting. We're going to start with Sambutjo on pages 24 and 25, followed by the reading of the Hyobakumon, the purpose of the service. 24 and 25.
Today, on this occasion of the Gotan-E Service for 2025, members of our temple families have reverently come before Alameda Buddha. With deepest reverence and thankfulness for the all-embracing wisdom and compassion of Alameda, we reaffirm his three homages. Namo Kie Butsu, Namo Kie Ho, Namo Kie So. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Please repeat the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, Namanda, Namanda.
Now we will have Sutra Chanting, Butsu Ge on page 79.
心所おすがのひ生き少々よ自己世尊知恵無限上領子孫知多心行軽量心死食毒樹大行精進臨終無限
Please stand for our Gatha Shinran Sama on page 126 and 127 of the White Book. We will do the 3 verses in English as we practiced last week. Joyce, are you coming up?
Very nice. Practice makes a difference.
I like that. Okay. Page 8 for Three Treasures, number 1. This is in the purple book. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not realize the truth in this life, when will it be realized? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we absorb ourselves in the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we be submerged in the depths of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we live in harmony in the great assembly as disciples of Buddha and be freed from all hindrances, becoming units of true accord in the life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teachings. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. Please be seated.
Now, Reverend Fujimoto will announce our guest speaker, Danny Terao, who will share a Dharma message with you.
Okay, good morning. Ohayo gozaimasu. Yeah, nice to have a large number of people celebrating Shinran Shonin's birthday. Today is our annual Gotan-E service, and we're able to reflect upon Shinran Shonin, his life, and the struggles that he went through, his childhood, and we all can remember the story. And so through that, we have a deeper appreciation when we reflect upon what he has gone through, and then the awareness that he came to, the teachings that he has provided, and it's touching people throughout the world who have become people of the Nembutsu path, our Shin Buddhist followers. And so it's always a very special occasion. And to make it even more special, we have our lay guest speaker, Dennis Terao. And so he will share some images on the screen and give us some thoughts of what he has been through, his travels, life travels, and not only life travels, but probably his own spiritual path as well, to connect his own way to this Nembutsu path that has touched his family and has been provided by Shinran Shonin. So please give Dennis all your attention.
Here we go.
When Reverend Dennis first asked me to speak at this morning's service several months ago, I didn't realize that today's service is Gotan-E. So I'm very honored and very humbled to speak this morning. As I was away from Alameda for several years, and many people have asked me what I was up to, I decided that what I would present this morning in my Dharma talk is finding Buddhism on my travels. So let's begin at the very beginning. Here's a map of the United States. As you can see, I've pointed out 3 locations. Here's Spokane, Washington, where I was born and lived until I was in the 8th grade. Then I moved to Alameda in 1961. I moved to Alameda in 1961 when my father became the minister here at the Buddhist Temple of Alameda. After I went to Alameda High and University at Cal, I got a job with Japan Airlines at the San Francisco International Airport. From there, I got a transfer to JAL's office in New York City. Oops, wrong way. This is a photo of the very first Spokane Buddhist church. It was established in 1945 after my parents and older sisters were released from what the U.S. government referred to as the Minidoka Relocation Center in the Idaho desert. It was actually a concentration camp of barracks surrounded by barbed wire and machine gun towers where Japanese Americans were imprisoned during World War II. From this slide, you can see that it was a very big house and where I was raised. The downstairs had a very large room, which was the chapel of the temple. And the upstairs was where the bedrooms were located. Since our house was the temple, my sisters and I all had perfect attendance at Sunday school. This is a photo of me with my parents and sisters for my parents' New Year's card for 1949. A tradition of my parents was to send a family photo at the beginning of each new year. You'll recognize this photo of our temple. Do you recognize the flowers in the yard? This is a hanging wisteria and is the symbol of our sect of Buddhism, Jodo Shinshu, which you can see here on the podium. 2 wisteria flowers form a circle with 2 intertwining vines in the center. These represent humility and a welcoming heart-mind. In 1961, my family moved to Alameda when my father became the minister here at the temple. This is a photo of our first New Year in Alameda in 1962. Do you recognize Lenny and me? We were the first residents in the minister's house in 1961, which was newly built. As you saw from the previous slide, we were a family of 6 when we moved into the house, so it was a challenge using the bathroom since there was only one. So we also made use of the toilets in the temple's hall. I have some very fond memories of living in the house. One time was when we heard this horrific scream from the hall, and Mrs. Chichia, Ron's mother, came running out the back door of the hall and into our house. What made her scream and run into our house was when she entered one of the stalls in the ladies' room, she saw a very large rat staring up at her from inside the toilet bowl. I don't know about you, but I would have screamed as well. I was told that I had to get the rat out of the toilet because I was a Boy Scout. I still have not heard of a merit badge for rat toilet extraction. I think many old Alamedans will remember those days when there was a rat infestation throughout the city and rats coming out of the sewer system through home toilets. I remember seeing a photo in the Alameda Times-Star newspaper of an Alameda cop pointing his gun at a toilet bowl. After graduating from Cal, I joined Japan Airlines at the San Francisco International Airport as a passenger service agent. These were the days before personal computers and the 747 jumbo jets. JAL's fleet consisted of DC-8 aircraft with daily service between Tokyo, San Francisco, and New York. After working at SFO for 2 years, I transferred to JAL's office in New York City. JAL's office in New York City was on Fifth Avenue in Midtown Manhattan, and it was a great location to work. Since today's service is celebrating Gotan-E, I should mention the New York Buddhist Church, where there is a statue of Shinran. The statue was brought to the United States in 1955. It was originally offered to the United Nations as a symbol of peace, but the UN declined the proposal due to a lack of proper space. Instead, it was placed in front of the New York Buddhist Church, which has been operating on the Upper West Side of Manhattan since 1938. While working at JAL in New York, I was asked to attend meetings of the International Air Transport Association, known as IATA, in Geneva, Switzerland. After attending a few meetings and getting to know the staff at IATA, I was offered a job with IATA. I thought it was a great opportunity to experience living in Europe for a couple of years, so in 1984, I left JAL and joined IATA in Geneva, Switzerland. Geneva is located in western Switzerland. Although Switzerland is a very small country with only 8 million people, it has 4 official languages: French in the west, German in the north, Italian in the south, and Romansh in the east. Luckily for me, the working language in IATA is English, so the work environment for me was very easy. According to my last count, I think I visited 88 countries through my job and interests. I know that's a lot, but maybe not as many as Jane Naito has probably visited. While living in Geneva, I did volunteer work at La Maison du Terao. It's a hospice where very sick people go for their final days. You'll note this photo of the wisteria, the symbol of our sect of Buddhism, along the side of the building, just like we have in our temple's garden. La Maison du Terao translates from French to Tara's house. The name Tara in French is Kannon for the Buddhist goddess of mercy. To be a volunteer at La Maison du Terao, one had to attend several training sessions about caring for the home's patients. There are things like cleaning the patient's rooms to changing the sheets on the beds and how to assist the nurses on duty. One of the things that really struck me on the very first training session was that we were taught to meditate for several minutes before that training session began and also at the end of the training session. In fact, when doing volunteer work at Terao, one shift always began and ended with a meditation session before the briefing of each patient's condition. The lady on the right is Anne-Marie Strick, who is the founder of La Maison du Terao. She is a devout follower of Tibetan Buddhism. The lady on the left is Theo McFarland, the head of the volunteers at La Maison de Tata. The lady in the photo is Veronica Fortini. She is a Swiss nurse at La Maison de Tata. She is also a Buddhist nun and used to be the nurse to the Dalai Lama's sister in Tibet. About a 5 hours drive from Geneva is a U.S. military cemetery located in Épinal in eastern France. It's a beautiful cemetery with over 5,000 graves of U.S. soldiers who died while serving in the U.S. Army during World War II. Among the graves of the U.S. soldiers buried at the Épinal Military Cemetery are the graves of 11 Nisei soldiers who were part of the Japanese-American unit known as the 442nd Regimental Combat Team. At the time of their burial, Buddhism was not recognized as a religion for burial in U.S. military cemeteries, so all are buried under crosses. I recall seeing an interview with a 442nd veteran, and he mentioned standing in line waiting for his dog tags to be stamped with his religion: C for Catholic, P for Protestant, J for Jewish, M for Muslim. When it was his turn, he asked the soldier who was stamping the dog tags if he could have his dog tag stamped twice with a P. First as a P, then the dog tag turned upside down and stamped with another P to make a B for Buddhist. One of the soldiers who did come home is my uncle, Reverend William S. Terao, my father's younger brother. The photo on the left is my uncle being presented with the Bronze Star for participating in the rescue of the Lost Texas Battalion in France. In 5 days of battle in October 1944, the Japanese-American 442nd broke through German defenses and rescued 211 men of the Texas 100th Battalion. The 442nd suffered over 800 casualties. While I was living in Switzerland, I also did volunteer work with the Healing Hands Network in Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Sarajevo is famous for hosting the 1984 Olympic Winter Games. This is a photo of the Olympic Stadium's tower. Below the tower, the white markers are marble headstones of what is now a cemetery. This is a photo of another cemetery outside of Sarajevo. There are similar sites all over Bosnia as a result of the Bosnian War from 1992 to 1995. As a volunteer with the Healing Hands Network in Sarajevo, I provided massage therapies to victims of the Bosnian War. Bosnia has 3 main religions: Catholic, Russian Orthodox, and Islam. This is a photo of a lady who is a devout Muslim who I provided with massage treatments. After 35 years living in Switzerland, in 2019, I decided that it was time to move back to Alameda. I was fortunate with my timing because, as you might recall, there was a mandatory statewide stay-at-home order from March 2020 until January 2021. So for those 10 months, it was just my mom and me in our condo on Bay Farm Island. Here's a photo of my mom and me on her 101st birthday, just her and me. I again experienced how devout a Buddhist my mother was. She would always begin and end her day with the Nembutsu before the family shrine. She would also begin and end each meal with the Nembutsu. At the beginning of my presentation, I showed you a slide with the title, Finding Buddhism on My Travels. Actually, I really didn't have to travel far to find Buddhism. It was always right here with me. Thank you. So that concludes my presentation this morning. If you have any questions or comments, I'd be happy to respond to them. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate that.
Any questions, comments? None? Tom?
Do you speak French?
I tried to. Luckily for me, the working language in Gatha was English, so I could order a meal, order a beer, and ask where the toilets were.
That's all you need.
That's all you need, right? Main things. Yumi?
What made you take up massage training?
Well, I spent 35 years in the airline business, and I just really needed to do something else. And I had plenty of time on my hands, so I went to therapy schools, and then I got the opportunity to do massage therapies with patients in hospices, so it was very fulfilling. Any more questions? Is that? No. Well, thank you very much for inviting me to give you my Dharma talk this morning. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Denny. That was very, very good. Now I feel like I know you. Okay. So we'll have Gatha now. Please stand for Gatha. Ondukusan on page 220 of the purple book. Thank you.
Please be seated.
Okay, we have some acknowledgments. Thank you to those who helped with the altar preparation and with the service. Reverend Dennis, thank you. On YouTube today we have Brian, and Doug is in training, so thank you to both of you. Altar flowers, Jane, organist Lenny, and also to Abwa Toban Group 2 for preparing today's otoki and refreshments. Are there any newcomers or visitors? One. Can you please stand and introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Frank. I used to attend Mountain View Buddhist Temple, and I moved up here. And so thankful to be here, to the Dharma, and also be close to the Buddhist Church of South America. I'm very fortunate to have listened to some of the Dharma talks by Professor Uno. Very wise.
Welcome, Frank. Thanks for coming. Okay. One more. Welcome. Okay, some announcements. Next Saturday, May 24th, Sensei has the cemetery visits, 10 a.m. at the Chapel of the Chimes in Oakland, and 4 p.m. at the Chapel of the Chimes in Hayward. Next Sunday, May 25th, there will be no service. That's the date of the Enmanji cemetery visits. Sunday, June 1st, Shotsuki monthly memorial, and the ABWA meeting after the service. Any other announcements? None? Okay. Well, thank you for attending this morning's service. We're going to have some refreshments afterwards in the hall, so please join us there after you do your Oshoko. Thank you.
I think, are we having a Ask Reverend Dennis? Okay. So this is the last Sunday of the month, so we have an Ask Reverend Dennis session, and I'll make it short because there's a lot of good food over there. But I did appreciate the presentation from Denny. When you were in Geneva, was the whole center Buddhist based? I mean, were the other workers, you introduced a few, but were the other workers Buddhist too, or not necessarily? Or?
No, I was the only Buddhist there.
Really? But some.
There's several Buddhist temples in Switzerland, but there's no Dodo Shinshu temple.
Right, right. But one was like a Tibetan or
Several Tibetan, because there's a very large community of Tibetans there, and there's kind of like a pathway for Tibetan refugees to go to Switzerland.
okay. So they didn't like practice or have meditations there.
They do have their temples there, several Tibetan temples.
Yeah, but not at the work site there.
No.
I see. Huh. Very interesting, huh? Okay, thank you. For the Ask Reverend Dennis, I have been asked by some, about our protocol when we come in and enter or shoko and things like that, and because we have new people, I thought it might be appropriate that we go through some of these. So wanted to explain, and I can demonstrate some of the things, okay? So basically, I'll show you.
When we come in, any of the doors, it's proper to bow before you step in, right? And then you come in to the room. Anywhere there's a image of the Buddha or the words Namo Amida Butsu, you honor that place. So when I come in, for example, before service, you'll see me stop after I come into the door, and I'll bow. And then for the ministers, I'll bow here, coming into the room, and then when I turn, I'm bowing to Amida. Right? So if we have a guest speaker and they're coming this way, and they're parallel to Amida, they will bow. So they're not bowing to you like hello, they're bowing because they're here to Amida. Right? And then we come in and take our seats. So for others, no matter which door, when you come in, you bow and come in, and at the same gesture of appreciation and respect. When you leave, you bow and leave, right? So, but there's some common sense involved. If we have Shotsuki service, people bring good food here. You're asked to bring the box of donuts downstairs. You don't have to bow. You can go down safely. Don't bow and fall down the stairs because the donuts are important. Then when you come up to Oshoko, if this were an incense burner, you'll come up and like a step before It's like you see the image of the Buddha and you bow, okay? Like I am here. Then you take a step forward, close enough to get the incense and put it in the burner, right? So some people, depending, sometimes families have their own family traditions or that they've seen grandma do for many, many years and they'll touch their head or something like that. It's not necessary. If that's what your family likes to do, that's fine, okay? But it's not necessary. You don't have to put it to your head, okay? No sign of the cross, just put it in there, right? Okay, so you put the incense in and you put your hands together. Okay? And you should be saying Namanda, Namanda, Namanda audibly. So I should be able to hear you. You don't have to scream it out or Namanda, Namanda. So not just silently. Right? Tom did this, you could hear him saying Namanda, Namanda. So yeah, and I think it's a good practice. We're learning how to become comfortable to recite the Nembutsu and to do this, not just thinking of it or pretending like you're saying it or mumbling it, audibly to say it. Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. There you go. Okay. Then after you're done, your hands are down and you take a step back. So your bow, like I'm taking my leave now. And you go on. Sometimes there's a long line, so instead of holding up the line, you'll see people take a step or two to the side. But always facing Alameda to do the Nembutsu. And then when we are doing our chanting, some people were asking about the raising the book to our heads. So this is called itadaku. So before we open the book, before we begin the chant, we're sitting down. The Gatha or the chant is announced, and so we raise the book, and then we open it. And when we finish, we close the book. Okay, so again, gestures of appreciation and respect for the words of the Buddha. Okay. So as we do this practice, some places are very, very watchful. Like you're not supposed to just put these down on the seat. You don't put the words of the Buddha where your butt is placed, basically. So when you see something very proper, they would have something that's placed, and then this is placed on top. Yeah. But we have to have some common sense about it, and sometimes it's not really practical. It becomes burdensome or difficult. So then you do what we need to do. Okay. Where was I? There was somewhere. There was a mixture of Buddhists and Shin Buddhist and other Buddhists. I think they were visiting from another temple, and so these books were placed next to them as they had to come up or something like that. And the Buddhists from the other temple were appalled that they would act in such a manner, right? So you'll find that on occasion. So just relax, buddy. Just relax. Okay. So these are things we try to do properly, but again, take some common sense and some understanding, and it all goes well. Are there any other questions about entering or anything? Amy? Yeah, it's a little bit casual, too casual. I think the Dharma school, we have service here, and sometimes they'll cross their legs and I'll tell them to put your feet down, and they're kind of bouncing around. Right? Yeah.
So I'll tell them to stop, and also it's hard to chant when if your legs are crossed, you're kind of leaning back into your chair. Your posture should be straight, okay? Just like singing, you can't lean back into a chair and sing very well. So to be able to voice the chanting, you want your back straight. Probably, if you can reach, we put our feet firmly on the ground. Okay, I know some of us need those cushions, and Lenny's so short, he has a 4-inch stool there to sit on. So no, yeah, but that's things to consider. Crossing your legs is a little bit too casual. We want to be more proper than that. I think that comment was made even going to the temple. We do want to be comfortable, but in the past, people used to really dress nicely when they come to the temple, and now it's much less so. So my mother's made the comment, when you drive by like maybe a Baptist church in a black neighborhood, and everyone has their best dress on and beautiful hats on and just dressed to the tens, and so wow, that's how it used to be. But we're kind of casual, hopefully not sandals or zori kind of things, and short pants and all torn up kind of thing. But sometimes I get a call, is there anything I need to do to attend your service? I'll just tell them, well, if you're clean and comfortable, you'll be okay, right? At least bathe before you come. Any other questions that might come to mind? Okay. Most of us do all these things and know all these things, but sometimes the questions come up, and sometimes we have visitors, and a lot of it is monkey see, monkey do, and how we come up in Oshoko. And if the first one does it funny, everybody does it funny, right? And so, to review these things are helpful, I think. Any other questions? Karen? Yeah, we have limitations depending on where we are and things like that, and yeah, we try to make the most sense of it all. So, good job. Any other questions, or quite separate from this? I think we are good. So let's close this. Ask Reverend Dennis with the Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, Namanda. So I'll relight the incense, and then we can go out to the social hall. Right.